Recently, Christopher Nolan released the second trailer for his upcoming film, The Odyssey, and just as we expect from a Nolan movie, the trailer instantly creates that grand, mysterious feeling the moment it begins. The trailer opens with the voice of Calypso, played by Charlize Theron. She asks Odysseus what he remembers, and Odysseus replies, "A wife and a son." Obviously, he is talking about his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus, played by Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland. Now here's an important detail. In Odyssey, Odysseus goes through countless hardships after the Trojan War. Almost all of his companions die, and after drifting in the sea for 9 days, he reaches Calypso's island, Ogygia. There, the beautiful nymph Calypso keeps him trapped for 7 years because she falls in love with him. She even offers him immortality so he can stay with her forever on that island. But Odysseus constantly thinks about home: Ithaca, Penelope, and Telemachus. In Homer's epic, he is often shown sitting near the shore, crying in sorrow, which clearly shows that his memories and longing for home never faded. After that, Calypso asks him what else he remembers, and Odysseus says, "We won the war." Clearly, he is referring to the Trojan War, the legendary conflict that lasted for 10 long years. In this shot, we see the Greek army finally entering the city of Troy after a decade-long siege, and we also get a glimpse of perhaps the most famous military strategy in mythology, the Trojan horse. After that, Odysseus says he wants to go home. Then the trailer cuts to Antinous in Ithaca, telling Penelope, "This house needs a new master." Now, if we follow Homer's Odyssey, even 10 years after the Trojan War, Odysseus is still missing. 10 years were spent fighting the war, and another 10 years were spent trying to return home, meaning it took him nearly 20 years to reach Ithaca again. During that time, 108 suitors, mostly sons of noble families, had occupied his palace. Every day they held feasts, drank wine, wasted Odysseus's wealth, and pressured Penelope into choosing a new husband. The chief suitor, Antinous, played by Robert Pattinson, appears to be the most dangerous and arrogant among them. In between, we see several other shots, including what seems to be the Cyclops entering his cave, while Odysseus and his companions are already inside looking terrified. After that, we get our first look at Eumaeus. In Homer's Odyssey, Eumaeus is Odysseus's most loyal servant. He is a swineherd who lives in a humble hut outside the palace. When Odysseus finally returns to Ithaca after 20 years disguised as a beggar, Eumaeus becomes the first person to shelter him. He doesn't recognize Odysseus, but according to the Greek tradition of Xenia, sacred hospitality, he offers him food, warmth, and shares news about Ithaca. Later, he reunites with Telemachus and helps Odysseus plan the destruction of the suitors. And in the climax of the Odyssey, he fights alongside Odysseus during the brutal slaughter inside the palace. Then once again, we see Antinous speaking to Telemachus, saying, "You mourn a father you never even knew." After that, the trailer cuts back to Odysseus, who appears to be in the underworld. Here we briefly see Elliot Page, who according to rumors might be playing either Hermes or perhaps even the ghost of Achilles. Right after that, we get a shot of Tiresias, the blind prophet. In the Odyssey, Circe tells Odysseus that he must travel into the underworld in order to seek prophecy from Tiresias. After that, the trailer rapidly shows multiple shots of Telemachus, Eumaeus, and Odysseus. Then we get another incredible sequence involving the Laestrygonians. Now this part is extremely important in Odysseus's journey. After surviving the 10-year Trojan War, Odysseus was sailing back to Ithaca with 12 ships. But after receiving the windbag from Iolus, which his greedy crew foolishly opened, the fleet was blown off course and eventually reached the island of Telepolis, home of the Laestrygonians. These creatures were man-eating giants ruled by King Antiphates. Here Odysseus once again showed his famous caution and intelligence. Instead of entering the city himself, he first sent 3 scouts ahead. The soldiers moved through dense forests and eventually reached a bright spring, where they encountered a tall and beautiful woman gathering water. She smiled and told them she was the daughter of King Antiphates, and that her father's magnificent palace stood nearby. The Greek soldiers, trusting in the sacred tradition of hospitality, followed her completely unaware of the horror waiting ahead. But the moment they reached the city, everything changed. Gigantic beings towered like mountains. Inside the palace, Antiphates immediately seized one soldier and devoured him alive. The other two barely escaped, but by then, the entire Laestrygonian army had awakened. From the cliffs surrounding the harbor, hundreds of giants began hurling massive boulders down at the Greek fleet. One by one, 11 ships were destroyed. The sea turned red with blood as soldiers were snatched up like fish and dragged away to be eaten. It was absolute slaughter, a complete massacre. But Odysseus survived because his ship had been anchored outside the narrow harbor entrance. Realizing the danger instantly, he ordered his men to row with all their strength. The giant rocks crashed into the sea around them as they barely escaped into open waters. By this point, nearly 95% of Odysseus's crew was dead. Out of 12 ships, only one survived. Out of around 600 men, barely 45 remained alive. And after this disaster, the waves carried Odysseus toward the mysterious island of Aiaia, where the sorceress Circe awaited him. Anyway, moving back to the trailer, we again see shots of Antinous and Telemachus. Then there are massive shots of stormy seas and ships, which probably represent the wrath of Poseidon against Odysseus. In the background, we may also hear Penelope's voice telling Odysseus, "You are the man who must write his own fate." After that, we see several war scenes along with glimpses of Ithaca. Then the trailer briefly shows scenes that could possibly be from Ismarus, along with more shots of giants. And after that comes another stunning visual, a gigantic whirlpool, which may represent Charybdis, the deadly sea monster that nearly destroys Odysseus and his crew. Then we get more scenes of Troy and warfare. And finally, the trailer ends with a mysterious line where Odysseus seems to say to his companions, maybe he's sleeping. It's unclear who he is referring to, but this scene might possibly connect to the Cyclops cave sequence. Anyway, that was my breakdown of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey trailer. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video. And if you want to fully explore Odysseus's journey and the hidden mythology behind it, check out the description below. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Until then, thank you for watching.